Welcome to our Rocky Mountain Sasquatch Organization Dirt Road Roundtable Drive. This is our form of a podcast when we're out in a Bigfoot sighting hotspot location. We're near the Yacolt part of Washington, just south of Mount St. Helens. You can actually, when you get out into clearings, you can see Mount St. Helens really well from here. So we're pretty much in the shadow of the volcano, but what brought us into this area for an expedition is just the tons and tons of sighting reports in the area. We're near the Lewis River. There's sighting reports all along that river, and the town of Yacolt, one of the largest grouping of a Bigfoot sighting, where a bunch of people watching a baseball game in that town. Behind the diamond, the Bigfoot come walking out of the tree, standing there staring down at the baseball game for a little while before going back into the forest, and everybody in the stands got to see the Bigfoot standing behind the game. So that's one of the largest group sightings that I know of. And then of course, all around that town, the outskirts of the town, there's a lot of sightings, where our base camp's actually near the Lewis River for that reason. And then we're spreading out from there, investigating Bigfoot sightings. This dirt road is just horrible. Got Jenny and Brody with me on this expedition. This is the time of day just before the sun goes down. The animals start getting really active and coming down to the river for a drink, and so it's a good time for us to be out. Maybe we can catch a Bigfoot coming down for a drink. Our base camp's kind of too close to the river. We were thinking about using a parabolic mic, you know, and listening for vocalizations and stuff, but the sound of the river, we're so close to it, would drown out anything. Yeah, last time we were on an expedition here, we stayed about a half a mile from Yell Lake, and the very first night we heard over an hour of what we think were Bigfoot vocalizations, 2 or 3 of them that kept vocalizing on and off for over an hour as the sun was going down, and we captured that on video. We actually recorded those. And the crazy thing is, a couple of days later, we were in the teeny tiny town of Cougar at the gas station, and the girl working at the gas station saw us buying all this Bigfoot paraphernalia, you know, t-shirts and whatever.
Memorabilia.
Yeah, memorabilia. And so she mentioned that a couple of nights ago, or I think it was the night before, her and her significant other were tent camping down by the lake, and they heard what they think are Bigfoot vocalizations. And she was describing the same stuff that we were hearing. Now, this is a local that lives in the area, and so she knows the forest sounds and stuff here. So if her and her man are thinking it's Bigfoot, and they were probably hearing the same vocalizations we were, so that was pretty cool to run into someone else that was hearing what we heard and recorded. Wow, this road is just the worst. Nice base camp. we love doing these driving roundtables because when you start researching the over 3,000 Bigfoot sighting reports that have been documented in the United States, over half of them, people see the creature from their car while they're driving. So for people to say you're not going to see Bigfoot from the car, then why are over half the reports from the front seat of a car that they see the Bigfoot? So this is our hikes, our actual sighting report locations. We got just as good of a chance on these drives in these areas of seeing one. And who knows, you guys might spot it before we do. You know, we can only be looking one direction at a time. The camera never blinks. So if you guys think you see a Bigfoot on one of our driving videos, make sure you let us know. Let us know the timestamp and what side of the frame that you saw it on. Upper left, lower right, you know, all that. Oh my goodness.
There's a lot of berries around.
Yeah, our base camp has salmon berries, and it's making me nervous because I know that'll bring in bears, but on the same flip side, maybe it'll bring in a Sasquatch to eat those salmon berries. Where we're from, it's too early in the year for those types of berries, but here in the Pacific Northwest, man, I've been seeing ripe ones left and right. Yes, we're next to the Lewis River. I picked the Lewis River as a base camp this time because last time that we did an expedition to Mount St. Helens, I wanted to make it down to the Lewis River because of all the sightings, and we didn't make it. We had plenty of going on at our other base camp. I mean, for God's sakes, the very first night we arrived, we had vocalizations. It was nuts. I mean, that expedition set a pretty high bar of expectations for this area. This is only our second day here. We arrived yesterday. So I decided this time that we're gonna set up base camp near the Lewis River, and we do plan on hitting some spots around Mount St. Helens. If you guys have been following us, you guys know that one of the reasons I'm a Bigfoot enthusiast is because of my grandpa sighting in the 1930s at Mount St. Helens. That's back before the word Bigfoot was coined. He just knew he saw some 3 hairy giants very close range during the daytime. They wanted his fish. He ended up giving his catch to him, tossing them to him. So yeah, his stories when I was a kid about that. And I was bad. I was always pestering him to tell me again and again and again. So that's probably why I have the best recollection of his story out of the whole family, because I always pestered him to tell me. Yeah, he didn't start calling those creatures Bigfoot until the Patterson-Gimlin footage come out. And when that hit movie theaters, he's like, that's exactly what I saw, but I saw 3 of them. And they were calling it a Bigfoot, so now he had something to call the 3 creatures that he saw. And he wasn't the only one that saw them. He had 4 other buddies with him. They did an annual hike into a pristine lake around Mount St. Helens, and of course this was 60 years, or no, what would that be, like 50 years before it exploded? So I don't know if the lake he was hiking in and out of is still there, or I'm pretty sure it's not exactly the same as when he was hiking in there. One of the guys went fishing with him. They went fishing. The guy that was fishing with him, that was kind of in the same area, he didn't see the creatures. But the other three guys, they the first morning they were there, they went to collect berries, and they saw them also. Yeah, he went and grabbed the other guy who was fishing with. They went back to camp and just wanted to get out of there, and they got back to the camp, and the other guys were there wanting to leave too because they saw them. So they changed their annual backpacking trip. They quit going to that location after that. So yeah, that sparked my enthusiasm, so I'm just tickled to death to Bigfoot around the Mount St. Helens area because of my grandpa's experience.
We went to the ball field today to see where that sighting was from.
Jenny's way in the back, so if you can't hardly hear her, that's why she said that we went to the baseball field in Yacolt where that group sighting happened. We had to go check out the location where that happened. I don't know if I'm saying Yacolt right. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to correct me, so you know what I'm talking about though. Yacolt, Washington. Ooh, it's getting a little bit chilly out there.
Yes, yes it is. We were worried about it being too hot. Scanning the cliff tops for ridge walkers. Whoa, I saw movement up there. It's a bird. Okay. I just caught movement out of the corner of my eye, and was a bird that landed on a big giant dead stump. I know it's funny, these sections I can drive really slow. I'm like combing the hillsides out my window, and I mean, wouldn't that be ironic? A Bigfoot crosses the road in front of me and I don't even acknowledge it because I'm looking out the window. Yeah, that'd be some fun when I edit the video together. See something like that I missed. I have saw black bear like 3 times out in the wild, maybe more, but that's in my mind right now, I'm recollecting 3 different times I've seen black bear just last year. One of them I was sitting in a car and I was able to get the camera on him and zoom in on him and everything. And then the other 2 crossed the road in front of Jenny and I in Montana. The one that I actually filmed with a handheld camera, that was in Utah. But that is 3 black bear sightings in 1 year, and all of it was from the front seat of my car. So I mean, a Bigfoot sighting could work out the very same way. I would prefer the protection of my vehicle if I saw one, to tell you the truth, than out on the hiking trail. Or peeing behind my tent at night. That would be awful.
We've actually been setting up game cams. And a big old fat bear came right out of the bushes right in front of us, looked at us, and then walked off.
Bloomington Canyon in Idaho.
Yeah. That wasn't pleasant.
I know, and then I went after it, upset Jenny.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, fine, you go right after that. I'll stay here. I'll listen for the screams.
Wow.
Now that was an unsettling 15 minutes. And then, not maybe 5 minutes later, here comes a bull moose coming up the trail.
There was so much wildlife around there.
I know, but the bear and the moose right back after back, I had really bad anxiety.
Yep, and those are 2 animals that are well known for killing people. Actually, moose kill more people in the United States every year than bears. It's just the one with the claws and teeth always gets the most publicity. Okay, this is the time of day that the biggest percentage of Bigfoot sightings happen, is dusk. So this is prime time to actually get to see one in a Bigfoot sighting hotspot. And I need to remind you guys that the state of Washington has the most sighting reports out of anywhere in the United States or the world. More Bigfoot sighting reports come out of this state. So we're in prime location, prime time, and all of our eyes are peeled. We've set up some game cameras around our base camp, so we got eyes and ears at base camp even when we're not there. I think I see someone up there with their camper. Or one of them little motorhomes. Hell, they're right on the river. This road is gnarly. This is one of the worst dirt roads I've ever been on in the state of Washington, by the way.
At least it's not the road of death.
The what?
The road of death. Where were we when the road was falling away?
We were almost exactly between Mount Adams and Mount St. Helens. We were back on, I think it's called Horse Creek or something like that. Something with a horse in it. You could tell a giant boulder come down and destroyed half of the road, and it was pretty much straight cliff down. And so you had to go on the section that didn't get destroyed, and it was a cliff straight down. And yeah, Derek was freaking out really bad. I was freaking out on the inside. I mean, I wasn't boisterous with how I felt like Derek was. Oh my goodness, I can't believe that little bus converted into an RV. It doesn't look like it's made to drive on this type of stuff. They're camping in a beautiful spot though. Wonder what it is about the state of Washington that Bigfoot likes to habitate here.
The weather's nice.
Rains a lot. I guess that creates a lot of food sources. The forests are thick, overgrown, and pristine, most of them. Lots of moss on the trees. I smell a campfire. Yeah, we're only about 3-4 miles away from our base camp. Yeah, I checked it, and supposedly it's the gate below is open. Last year we weren't able to get into 8th Canyon. It was the gate down below it was shut.
There was too much snow.
Well, remember how someone pulled the gate out of the ground?
Yeah.
And so we went anyway?
Yeah.
Since the closed gate, someone hooked a chain up to it and ripped the concrete footing and the pole out of the ground, you guys. I mean, crazy. So even though we probably could have gotten in trouble for being back there, because it was obviously, it was supposed to be closed, we went back there and the snow was too deep. We probably got about a half a mile past the torn out gate, and the snow was way too deep, so we had to turn around. Wonder how they got down there, the people that have the campfire clear over there. That road goes down, forks off right there. I see. But yeah, before we come on this expedition, I checked, and the
Ape Canyon's supposed to be open. Yeah, Ape Canyon is famous in the Bigfoot community because a bunch of miners at the beginning of the century, I don't know the exact year, I apologize, they had a couple of run-ins with Bigfoot, and one of them actually shot at, and I think they may have hit the Bigfoot because he was pretty sure he hit it and it ran off screaming. And then that night after he shot it, their little base camp cabin got attacked by several of them. And the attack kind of went almost all night. They assaulted it with logs and stones, and those guys was shooting out at them, and so that ordeal kind of makes Ape Canyon famous for anyone into Bigfoot phenomena.
I wonder what they're mining right here. I've seen about a dozen mining claims as we've been going along this road.
Probably gold. That's what they're mining in Ape Canyon.
Is there such a mining claim as to just be able to pan and not like dig, or does it matter?
It depends on what state you're in.
I know some places you're not allowed to mine or take minerals, but you're okay to pan just as long as you're not taking anything with you.
Oh, that would be hard to do. Here, look at this junk.
I mean, some places there's recreation, you know, panning and whatnot.
Yeah,
Other places you have to have a claim.
You just
Take
gotta
out any precious metals.
just gotta check out the rules before you go in and start doing something like that. I know, it's crazy when you see someone with a sluice box set up inside the river, and you're always like, is that legal? Jenny and I hiked this canyon out by Brigham, Utah. We went up on the backside of Black Mountain because there's been several Bigfoot sightings on the other side of the Black Mountain, but we decided to go on the opposite side and scout out the area. And we get into the area, and right away there's a sign, no mining, no mineral collection, all that. We get about 50 feet from the sign, and there's this older gentleman with a magnet, and he's doing this magnet thing everywhere, and we started talking to him and stuff, and he was searching for gold. And then
in front of the nose searching for gold sign.
and then he wanted to show us where we needed to go to get into to hike back into the canyon, because you got to cross the river and everything. So he went over and showed us, and then he got right down in the river and started panning for gold. And I just thought it was funny because we just went past this big blaring sign that says none of that, and he still was doing it anyway. He could care less. That sign's for everybody else. Oh, that was funny. Yeah, he was hilarious. He really expected Jenny and I to hang out with them and watch him pan and stuff. And it's like, no, we got stuff to do. Bye.
Have fun with that.
You're looking for gold. We're looking for squatch.
Okay, it's starting to get pretty dark. Gets a little bit darker, it'll be too dark for my hand cameras to work. Even my infrared camera, you still kind of got to get a spotlight on something for it to be effective. So we're going to be heading back to base camp soon. When we went walking down by the river earlier, Brody, I was sitting there filming and zooming in at some interesting dark spots across the river. You know, you never know what's in those. And I heard someone come up behind me, and I thought it was you. So I flip around, and there was nobody there. And it gave me the flipping creeps. Made the hair on the back of my head stand up, and started looking for anybody. Because I heard someone come up behind me, and I couldn't find a soul. So I went walking back until I could find you guys.
After I left you, I walked back and there was no one. So you were out there alone.
Yeah, I don't know what I heard. And you think if it was anybody, anything that come up that close to me when I flipped around, I'd be able to spot them, and I didn't see nothing. It was weird. But yeah, that gave me the creeps.
Well, that doesn't mean they won't see it cross the road up here further.
Yep.
There's a lot of places along here where there's really no line of sight where you can see very far into the thick brush, so, or down the hill, you know, down the side of the road.
Yeah, they definitely have some thick forest here, thick and dark. Upper canopy, lower canopy, undergrowth, just thick and dark. Damn. There's a cool spot across the river. I kind of want to zoom the camera in there.
Back in that shadows back in there?
Yeah. Yeah, I use a camera for my binoculars. I turn it on record and I zoom into what I want to see, so that if there's actually a squatch or an animal, I will definitely capture it. My cameras zoom in further than my field glasses.
It doesn't go in too far. Maybe a couple of feet. Kind of gets real narrow in there and just kind of ends.
Interesting. I didn't see anything back in there.
Unless you're looking back under there.
Oh, you guys want me to stay stopped?
I'm talking about.
Yeah, back up a little bit.
What do you see?
Just don't know how far this goes back under this rock here.
You see a cave?
Right
there.
Hey, you want to take a picture of it or something? Oh, it's one of those kind of slot caves like they were checking out on Expedition Bigfoot. Those ones were man-made. These ones are natural. This one's natural.
Yeah. whatever mineral in that rock has just eroded away and allowed a cavern to be underneath there.
Well, it could just be, it could be a huge area under there, you never know.
I don't know if the camera does justice, but there are some deep holes in this road. And plenty of them.
There is something that sounds like it's whistling out the window. I think it's
a bird.
It's a bird.
Okay. This is a really great area close to base camp.
Look at all that area. If anything wanted to stay hidden, look at all the area. It could just kind of blend in, evade from being seen.
Off the road, and it could just squat down and totally disappear.
Well, animals that do not want to be seen and cognizantly make that decision, they're pretty good at it. I mean, you rarely ever see a mountain lion. Like the state we live in, they say that in the northern part of Utah there's about 5,000 mountain lion, and out in the wild I've only ever seen 3 in my entire life. And you know, I've caught hundreds of them on game camera, so I know they're there. We find their tracks and their scat all the time, but you never see them. That's because they don't want to be seen. They hide. They got senses, very acute senses. They know when you're there and they hide from you. And some of them will follow you around.
Yep.
We got followed one night. The only reason we saw that one is because his eye shine reflection from my spotlight. That's how we spotted him. And then he kept coming closer and closer, and
I don't think he understood that we could see him.
or he didn't care. That's what worried me about the whole situation was he wasn't afraid of us. We were in his territory at night, which is his element. I'm sure they feel a lot more comfortable at night.
I'm gonna have to roll my window up now. It's cold.
Want me to roll mine up too?
No, I just meant the one on the face.
Okay. Yeah, the temperature drops fast when the snow goes and the sun goes down here. Oh, a fourth black bear that Jenny and I saw several years ago in Chehalis, Idaho. No, it wasn't Chehalis, Idaho. That's where we were actually staying. But we were one canyon south of Salmon, Idaho, that we went up in to check out and hike. We got out of the vehicle and we were probably only about 50 feet from the vehicle, and a black bear comes running out of the woods in our direction. And picture perfect bear, a black bear with a little white spot on its chest, and its muzzle area and nose was the cream color.
Looks like a teddy bear.
He was just perfect, and he was running full speed our direction, come out of the trees, and I was flipping out because he probably could have made it to me in like 3 seconds flat if he kept running at that pace. He was startled to see us. He stopped, took a look at us, and I could tell he was just as shocked to see us as we were him. And then he turned parallel to us, and he ran across the rest of the clearing into the woods to hide from us. So very fortunate day. Yeah, he could have been on me before I could get my mace deployed if he had just kept running at that pace when he come out of the trees, our direction. So that's a black bear sighting I had, that I wasn't in a car, but I just barely got out of my car. Yeah, we weren't very far from the vehicle.
We were standing next to a grizzly and didn't even know it. Yellowstone. And then as soon as we figured out we were standing by a grizzly bear, we got back in the car and then started filming it.
Yo. Yeah, there's this little sweet spot between the Tetons and Yellowstone, right kind of in between them perfectly, that we always see grizzly bears. They like that area for some reason, or it was just a coincidence and we're lucky to see one every few years that we're there. Now if we could find that sweet spot where Sasquatch hangs out, that'd be great. This is definitely an unimproved road. Very unimproved. Earlier today, I just got done telling Brody there isn't very many unpaved roads here. A lot of the off-roads around Mount St. Helens, they even pave those, and a couple hours later, here we are on a road that looks like it should be on the moon. It's so pock-marked. Craters everywhere. Wonder what causes these craters, man. Brody used to live about 50 miles south of here in Portland. You only lived there a year, right?
Yeah, about a year.
some of my back injuries I've gotten out bigfooting, I blame on packing around a backpack, and I've come to the realization that I think the backpack finishes the job. It's these types of roads that throws your back out, and then you put a backpack on. I used to carry everything, including the kitchen sink, in my backpacks, and after several years of back injuries, I've really reduced the weight of my backpack. I used to always carry a bunch of casting material and extra water, and so now I'm in the position that we've cast enough Bigfoot tracks over the years that we'll only do it if it's convenient. I mean, we'll sit and take pictures and film them and measure them all day. I'm not carrying 5 pounds of casting material and an extra 5 pounds of water. It's just not worth the back injuries of having the extra weight, so I just carry the necessities. My lunch and survival gear. But if it's convenient to run back to the vehicle to cast a perfect track that's in a, you know, just because you find a Bigfoot track does not mean it's castable. I mean, sometimes they're in standing water, which makes it very challenging, if impossible, to cast. Then if they're on a if they're on a steep incline, everything's going to slop to one side. You kind of want to find them in a level spot that's not full of water and all that. So you just can't cast them all. And I've also gotten to the point where sometimes when we found Bigfoot tracks that we cast, I kind of feel like they're close by. We're hot on their heels, and then we sit down and we spend 60 minutes to 2 hours casting a track, and our number one goal is to get a Bigfoot clear open footage on camera. Casting footprints, I apologize to anybody that thinks it's important. It's not at the top of my list of goals when it comes to Bigfooting. I mean, we've already got over a dozen casts in our collection, so yeah, if it's convenient and the conditions are right, we'll do it.
We're just as likely to have a sighting at our base camp as right across the road right here.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. The salmon berries at our base camp make me nervous that we might get a black bear visitor.
I did see some tracks headed down towards the river that kind of looked like bear.
I wouldn't be surprised. There's stuff for them to eat.
Wasn't definitive enough to tell because it was kind of in a rocky area, but.
And then we keep on cooking stuff that smells really good. That
yeah.
I don't know, do bears like hot dogs?
I assume they do.
This dash camera we're using for our podcast, roundtable drive, whatever you want to call it, it has infrared technology, and the camera senses when it should turn on infrared or stay at normal. It does it automatically, and I really like this camera. It sees very well at night, so I'm confident if a Sasquatch crosses reasonable distance from us at night, this camera is going to pick it up.
It's almost like something dug these holes, because there's gravel on either sides of the holes that it's been like been dug out. I wonder. I don't get it. Don't get why there's so many holes in this road.
I hope you enjoyed our Bigfoot roundtable drive on a dirt road. We enjoy showing you the bigger area. Keep on watching. We're going to keep squatching.